Today I'm going to cover the top 5 mistakes that I made while playing hockey. It's mistakes I wish I wouldn't have made, but hopefully the lessons that I learned from them are going to help you moving forward in your hockey career. So if that interests you, stick around. What's going on, guys? For those of you who don't know me, my name is Braden Pearl and I'm the founder of Advancement Hockey Advising, where we help hockey players advance to the next levels in their careers. All right, so let's dive right into mistake number 1 here, and that's back in my junior days, and that was becoming complacent. Now, for anything in life, but especially in competitive sports, hockey specifically, being complacent is the absolute enemy. You do not want a stagnating mindset, you want a growth mindset, and you always want to strive to be better every single day. So it was back when I was playing my first year junior in the NHLPA. When I first made the team, I was touted as like one of the top defensemen on the team, and I was gonna, they're really excited to have me, and the season was going really well to start it off. Things were going really well. But then, I started skipping some workouts, then I started, showing up to the rink a little bit late, not late to practice, but not doing my warm-ups before, not watching video like I used to and all that stuff to improve. Just overall started becoming more and more complacent. And as a result, I started getting little injuries, my game started suffering, coaches started noticing, and I started getting less and less ice time to the point where they're like, Braden, you got to figure it out here. We're going to have to let you go. And, I kind of put a little bit of work in, but not that much. And I still had the mindset like, oh, I'm one of the better players on the team. Everything's going to be fine. And then in December, they just decided to full out release me. And unfortunately, it was one of the hardest things I've ever went through, to be honest. It was quite difficult just going home in December. If anybody it's happened to before right now, you know that it's quite difficult to find a junior team in December, right? So at this point, very, very tough. I was a pretty low place at that point. Couldn't find a team and only found a junior B team close to my parents' house back home to finish out the year. Luckily, afterwards, I found a junior A team and all that stuff and so on afterwards, but that all could have been avoided if I didn't have that complacent mindset. So overall, really important. Always strive to be better. Always give a little bit of extra effort every single day in everything you do, and it will reward you. Becoming complacent is the enemy. I am telling you, out of all the tips, this is the most important one. That's why I started with it. So make sure you do not become complacent in anything that you do. All right, so that rant aside, mistake number 2 here that we're moving on to is not understanding the junior leagues and just the hockey landscape overall. This could have saved me so many bad decisions, and unfortunately, I just didn't know at the time. There wasn't the info like there is now, so unfortunately, it was a little bit tougher for me, but if I would ask around just a little bit more, I probably could have found out more information. So knowing the leagues in depth is very, very important. It's why we do what we do and why we put so much content out to help you guys understand what's going on. Just to give you the example, so back again, referring back to my junior league in the NOJHL. So back when I was 18, I had the choice to go sign with a CCHL team and NOJHL team. At the time, I did not know the difference between the 2 leagues, and I just listened to the NOJHL GM that kind of gave me a really nice story and said, you're going to be one of the better players here. It's a great league, blah, blah, blah. He sounded more convincing than the GM in the CCHL. Unfortunately, I decided to go in the NOJHL, which hindsight's 2020, but I think the CCHL option would have been a little bit better, So it is what it is. For you guys, really important. The info is out there now. Really make sure that you understand the junior leagues and the hockey landscape overall so you make the best decisions possible in your career. All right, moving on to mistake number 3 is not understanding what coaches look for in players and how they recruit. Back when I was playing, in my mind, I was convinced that if I just told them my story and how I had so many hardships and this year is going to be different and all this stuff and that, I was going to be a key player on their team, a really nice story, showing up, looking professional and all this stuff, I thought that, coaches would just magically want me, even though I had a difficult season the year before or something, and they would just want to sign me without me going to camp and all that stuff. Well, that's unfortunately, as you guys probably know, that's not how it works at all, right? Coaches have a systematic structure that they kind of put in place, especially at the higher levels, to recruit their players. They have a whole process that makes a lot of sense, honestly. So for you guys to understand, and it's something I wish I would have known back when I was playing, is coaches almost all follow the same process when they're recruiting players, and we as advisors and agents also kind of follow a similar process as well. So when we get a player name, like, hey, I have this player for you, we see the name. First thing we do is we look them up on Elite Prospects. We see, okay, are they even in the right realm for us to be able to help them? Or for a coach, they say, can they even play, have a chance of playing on my team? So they looked at where they played the year before and they looked at their stats. Again, they're not judging everything by stats and where you played, but it gives them a proxy to know, okay, is it worth me investing more time to look at the other things, or should I just move on to another list of 200 players that I have? So they look at the name, they look at the stats, and then from there they start looking at the video. So they'll look at your highlight video, whatever it is. If they like what they see, if it catches their attention, from there they'll look at full games, they'll look at instat clips, they'll go more more in the weeds on the analytics and everything. And from there, if they really like you, they may or may not call your past coaches. They'll ask, some details, how you were as a person, your grades, all that stuff. And then if everything checks out, they will either invite you to camp and be very interested, or they might just sign you right off the gate. But overall, that's the process that coaches typically take to recruit players. And it's something that I wish I would have understood, because if I would have understood this, I would have optimized my playing a little bit more results oriented earlier on in my career. All right, so mistake number 4 here that a lot of players I see today doing is jumping from team to team. Now, in certain cases, jumping to another team, if the current team you're on is not a right fit, or if you're going a drastically higher level and the team really likes you, then it makes sense. But in most cases, it often makes more sense to stay on the current team that you're on. So here's an example for you guys. So let's say you're playing in the CCHL for a team that really likes you, you're getting some power play minutes, PK minutes, all that stuff. And then a team in the NA approaches you and says, hey, I'd like to have you on my team next year, but you'd probably be like a 3rd or 4th line guy. Well, I don't see that making that much sense, because it is a jump, but it's not a huge jump, and you are playing very well for this team, right? It's a big risk to go to the NA for a new team that may or may not like you to the same degree and probably won't play you as much, right? It makes more sense to stay on a team where you're gonna get ice time. Also, if you stay on a team, you develop leadership skills and a leadership role over time. And coaches, when they look you up, when they're recruiting you, they see that like, oh, he's actually a guy that was like the assistant captain for a couple years. He had good production there. He's been doing well. Coaches would prefer that than a guy that goes from like CC to NA, then it doesn't work out, then go back to CC, or maybe go Noj or something like that. You don't want to be that guy that just kind of jumps around everywhere. And it's something that I did in my career, and that I wish I kind of would have just stayed status quo where I had success with a certain team. So something for you guys to note: if you are having success with a team, unless you get a no-brainer opportunity to go somewhere else, you're usually best to stay with that team. And mistake number 5 here, I would say, is isolating myself from my teammates. So it's only, I would say, in the 2nd year of college hockey that I really started, appreciating bonding with my teammates, going out with them, having fun with them and all that stuff. Obviously, you still have to be a professional. You still have to be serious about what you do, and you still have to train hard every day. But I think I was a little bit too intense on that. Probably trauma from getting cut in my 1st year junior because I was too complacent. Then I became very hardcore for like 3-4 years. But I would say there's a fine balance that I kind of learned over time. And for you guys, yes, it's important. Really make sure you work hard every single day. You do what you need to do, get the job done and all that stuff. But there is time for downtime. There always is a little bit of time for team bonding, hanging out with your teammates, downtime, because those are the memories that you're really going to cherish. Yes, like the wins, the accomplishments in hockey and life, those are going to be cherished too. But the time with your teammates, that's really, really important. It's something I wish I would have done earlier on, because I know it strained a few of my relationships back in junior hockey and a little bit when I first started university. But overall, as I got a little less introverted and more extroverted and started going out with my friends a little bit more, with my teammates, that really helped the relationships, and it translated on the ice. I was just happier overall. I had deeper bonds with my teammates, and just the communication and the play with them on the ice was that much better. So overall, I think it's really important not to isolate yourself from your teammates, and to really make sure that you do spend some time with them and form good connections with them. And there you have it, my friends. Those are the top 5 mistakes I made in my career and the lessons I've learned. Hopefully that gave you guys some value. If it did and you want to keep watching, either click here or click here. If you haven't already, absolutely destroy that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. If you have any questions for us, send us an email or drop a comment down below. And with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. We will catch you on that next one.